library, just kind of checking in with you. I know that we have it's 10 o'clock now. We have another tour group coming through, so I figured I'm gonna not exactly start at 10 o'clock, so just continue talking amongst yourselves and we'll wait for another group to come through. And thank you for being here. So welcome everybody. As you all know, because you all have been on a tour so far, we will continue to have people that are finishing up their tour, and as they come into the room, they will continue to be seated. But what we can expect here is a few speeches here in this, what we call the 11 o'clock block. So first, who's talking? My name is Erin Paulus. I am the administrator of the Arizona Talking Book Library. And I just want to let you know, I think you already know this, but we are going to be recording at the same time. So while I'm speaking to you right now, this will be our first opportunity to do a live stream. So people online will also be kind of joining us virtually from everywhere in the state. But I am so happy that you were able to join us today. So at this time, especially as we're kind of gearing up and welcoming some other people gradually into the space, be sure to set your phones to vibrate. We want to kind of limit the amount of noise that might end up on the, the live stream recording for all time and perpetuity. So thank you so much for that. So this has been a long time coming. So right now we're in 2025. If you can believe it, we haven't had an in-person open house like this since 2017. So we're almost in a decade. I'll kind of paint the picture of what happened, because typically we would do this about every few years. So we had it in 2017. We were going to do it in 2020 because, in addition to it was time to have an in-person event, it was also our 50th anniversary. So we were going to combine our 50th birthday celebration along with our usual open house event where everyone has the opportunity to get kind of a behind the scenes look of everything that we do here at the Arizona Talking Book Library. 2020, March. What happened in March of 2020? Who knows? Exactly. So and anyone who's been with us, maybe you even got that newsletter announcing it and said, we're almost ready to welcome you. And then there was a little bit of uncertainty, so staff kind of thought, okay, the event's almost supposed to happen, so what do we do? And in the end, we decided, let's get out the word now. We're going to go ahead and pivot. It was a good opportunity to try it. It was kind of our first virtual celebration, so what happened is we moved everything online. At the time, Karen Kenninger was the director of the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, and from the tour you know that is the kind of national level of providing our collections that we can distribute and the various equipment. If you are loaning, we loan our equipment to you. And so that's kind of where we're at now. We had to pivot, and she did a virtual presentation, and we put all of our presentations online. Not online, but it's available on cartridge. So 5 years later, here we are again. And this is now our 55th anniversary as well. We're just about to turn 55 on March 19th. So our library services opened for Arizona patrons in March 19th, 1970. So we're very happy that you can join us during this day, especially during this kind of milestone event. So thank you for joining us. If I may, I also kind of want to point out something exciting. So speaking of the National Library Service, we have one guest among us who's traveled very far to be with us today, and that is Kevin Osborne. And he is from the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, NLS. And he will be speaking a little bit later, but also milling about. And so if you have any pressing questions and he can answer those, at least introduce him and say hello. And thank you for coming to what I assume is better weather. I don't feel like it's a hardship at all. So thank you for Kevin. So our vision and that of NLS is that all may read. So you have found yourself here for a specific reason. There is a reason that it might be difficult for you to interact with a regular print book. But we have kind of a rhetorical family here. There's many ways that people find themselves to us. It could be maybe legal blindness. It could be just kind of declining vision over the years. In addition, if there's a physical issue that prevents someone from comfortably holding a book or turning a page or tracking a book with their eyes, they would also qualify. And most recently, it's never been easier for someone who has a reading disability like dyslexia to apply and be certified for our service. So I say that just so we can kind of get a picture of really kind of focusing on that vision that all may read. And that if you know somebody who kind of falls into one of those categories, please direct them our way. But in addition to that, because we are a part of a kind of grander national organization, if you know someone in another state who can use our services like the one that you're experiencing here in Arizona, you would just direct them to, there's a website. I'm not gonna make you remember this, but I'll just say it especially for our people at home. The website is www.loc.gov, so that's for the Library of Congress, /NLS. By phone, the easy to remember, so thank you, Kevin. Not that you had anything to do with it necessarily. 888 NLS READ. So NLS READ. So just be sure to spread the word, because especially as I'm talking with people kind of setting up this event, I hear, oh, but I know my mother lives in Florida. I need to tell her about this. So just don't keep it a secret. Spread the word. Most of the people that find us do so through referrals from friend and family. So let me kind of just be selfish. I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey here as the administrator. I got an early start with a love of libraries. My grandmother was actually the school librarian for me and all the other students, but I was partial to her, I like to think. So, in the evening, she might remember, does everyone remember the card catalogs? So she would bring a drawer home with her, and I would help to alphabetize those cards in there. So that was kind of my first experience with libraries. You zip forward X number of years, and my first experience with kind of the talking book service was leaving Arizona for a little bit, followed my husband to Southern California, where I was a public librarian there. And their library actually had a kind of what they call a deposit collection, so a small collection of what was then cassette tapes. We are all in the era of the digital cartridges, but before that was the cassette tape. So if anyone's comfortable letting me know who in this room with us today was also there at the time when we had cassette tapes. Wonderful. Keep your hands up for a second. Who might have been here before that with the record player? Anyone? Wonderful. So we have some people who are established, and I thank you so much for journeying with us from technology to technology over the years. And I will just say, for the cassette tapes, if you didn't have the joy of experiencing those, they were 4-sided cassette tapes. So one side flip, second side switch, flip it back over, et cetera, et cetera. So a little bit more complex. We were so overjoyed when we hopscotched over the CD scratchable technology and went right to our kind of flash drive cartridge technology. So that's a little bit about me, and from there, I was already kind of familiar with the program, and then when there was an opening at the Arizona Talking Book Library, I applied, and here we are. I started as a reader advisor librarian, serving individuals with last names of S through Z. So there might even be some of my patrons here today or at home, so I'm still here. I've just passed the baton on to some other people who's actually in the room today. Cassidy, I won't put you out for too much longer, but yeah, Cassidy's here if you want to say hello before leaving. So I also wanted to kind of put us in context a bit. So I already mentioned the national level for NLS, but in addition to that, we are also considered a branch of the Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records. Downstairs right now, right outside the elevator, before you leave today, please talk with our exhibitors. Among those individuals, we also have other librarians from the state library to talk about some of the other services that they provide that might be of interest to you. So that's where we serve locally. I did some numbers, so kind of what we provide. When people ask me how many books do you have, the answer is usually, and it's not because I'm ill prepared, but I don't know. Because it changes all the time. You know, NLS will not, for some reason, stop putting books onto BARD and making them available on cartridge. It's been an onslaught. You know, when I first started, it was maybe, I think, 3,000 to 4,000 books a year. And now through additional arrangements with commercial publishers, the fact that there's a lot of libraries in the network like ours that have their own recording studios to provide, you know, represent their region of the country. And then in addition to even that, we have the books in English and Spanish and other international languages, because we now, through the United States, through a treaty, can be able to share those across borders, across the ocean. So in conclusion, usually I just say, you know, over 100,000, because it changes all the time. But this morning, I pulled some stuff for y'all. Right now, we have almost 167,000 just books in audio and Braille. And so again, that is in, you know, all the languages that we currently have in our collection, predominantly English and Spanish, but all the time we're adding more and more, both, you know, from other countries and also indigenous populations. In addition to that, if you're all in on books, great. If it's just because you don't know what else we do, here's some other things. You can sign up for magazines. We have a lot of different magazines available, and those will actually arrive to you on different cartridges from your books. We have audio described DVDs. So what that is kind of an audio track that runs, and so in between dialogue, it'll just give you a little bit more information about what's happening on the screen so you can follow along. So that's pretty well established for us, but we have a lot of, you know, and also NFB Newsline has been established. So there's a service through the National Federation of the Blind called NFB Newsline. Is anyone familiar with that already? Yay, hooray. And so that is a service that we make available to eligible persons in Arizona, so those with legal blindness or those with another print disability. And through that, you have access by phone, or there's a myriad ways to access that, but even simply by phone, dialing in to access over 500, you know, other magazine publications, newspapers, news alerts. So many different things there. So don't limit yourself just to books there. If you're kind of wanting to keep track, especially of what's happening in the news, maybe at the local, national, and even international level, we have that available to you. So sign up. You just talk to Michael and Craig over there, and so they are the ones that help with that. And then newer to us, so you heard about this a little bit on your tour, but we're so excited to be able to offer Act 1 culture passes, and so that's good for free admission to 10 different museums and organizations around the state. And also, if you haven't gotten one yet and you would be able to benefit from one, we are a distributor of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, Bureau of Engraving and Printing. So that's for the closed captioning, so we get that right finally. The I-bills, and so that's just a very small device that you can plug in a bill, and it will be able to inform you of the denomination. So excited about that as well. So finishing up, what do you do from here? How can you stay connected other than, of course, calling your librarian, keeping us up to date with, you know, what you want to read? More and more, thanks to, again, name dropping Cassidy over here because I can see her to the side. She is helping us with our social media presence. So if you have an account on Facebook and Instagram in particular, be sure to follow us, like and subscribe, as the kids say. And very new to us, we're 3 episodes in as our new podcast, and Cassidy is the co-host on that, in addition to Sarah, another of our librarians, called From the Booth. And then so one exciting thing is that the 3rd episode that we just recently posted has a special interview with Alice O'Reilly, who is came to visit us during a conference here in Arizona, and she is the NLS head of collections. So finding out a little bit more about what she does. So thank you to Cassidy for making that possible, and Sarah. And finally, do you want to help a little bit more? We can always use extra assistance. We have 17 staff, but we're always looking for more volunteers to help us. So that can include outreach. And so those volunteers kind of get out into their communities and present. And as patrons of our library, you're already kind of well aware of the kind of services we provide. But the outreach librarians help us to reach other people who are eligible for service by telling them a little bit more about what we do. Also, in machines is another area we can always use assistance to bring those machines up to like new conditions. So if you're interested, just kind of contact the library after the tour, or also next week once we've had time to decompress a little bit, and we'll let you know how to become a volunteer with us. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move along here because we have a couple of wonderful special guests who are waiting for me to stop talking so that they can talk. So next in line we have Murphy A. Bear, who is representing the Secretary of State's office. So our library, while under Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records, we are a division of the Secretary of State. So Murphy is here to provide that perspective for us. And she is a Deputy Chief of Staff and Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. She's a longtime government and political communications professional who has served as the Communications Director for the Arizona Legislature, the Maricopa County Recorder's Office, which plug is behind you today if you want to find out more about accessible voting, and then the Secretary of State and Governor's Office. She has a master's degree in political science from the American University in Washington, D.C., and a bachelor's degree in journalism from ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. She lives in the East Valley and is a mom to a rambunctious, sassy 2-year-old and 2 surprisingly tolerant cats. So join me in welcoming Murphy to the front here.
Thank you. Couple things. I have on a wireless mic and can hear my own voice through and it's such a strange feeling to, I don't know, I didn't know I sound like this, is what I'm saying. And the rambunctious 2-year-old just shoved a bunch of goldfish crackers into my pocket, which I just found. So that's how my day is going. Good morning to everyone. I'm Murphy, and I know that I am the runner-up speaker for this engagement. The Secretary had a previous commitment, but he wanted me to make sure that people understand how important Arizona's Talking Book Library is to him and to the state, and how appreciative he is of the staff and of the patrons and the volunteers. Secretary Fontes has a well-known appreciation for the Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records. His roots in Arizona are deep, and he's come to learn more about those connections through the services provided by these institutions. But I like to point out that I was here first. I've been with the Secretary of State's office through 2 administrations, so have personally come to know and appreciate the invaluable role that the library plays in our community. That said, Secretary Fontes is a historian at heart, and he's always been a strong supporter of libraries and their mission to provide knowledge and resources to everyone. So today I'm privileged to share with you our commitment to ensuring that we continue to provide books and reading materials and other resources for those at the Arizona Talking Book Library who utilize those services, which have been a lifeline to over 5,000 individuals, offering them access to a world of literature and information. In fact, Arizona TBL is so important that we sometimes get to rub elbows with celebrities. We were able to enlist the support of DJ Lance Rock. Yeah, okay, so y'all missed him in 2007. And maybe you missed the recent reboot too, but he was able to record a series of promotional videos, and he read a copy of his own book, The ABCs of Awesome. And I heard recently that he is going to be performing at Coachella this year, so I think we really helped put him on the map. Just saying. He probably should send us a thank you card. And for those of you who have heard the Secretary speak about the Arizona State Library, Public Record Archives and Public Records, you know that he's he's okay at it. He does a decent job. I'm kidding, of course. He's an outstanding advocate and has recorded 2 picture books himself, The Night Before Election Day and Grumpy Monkey, and all of these recordings will be available soon. He mentioned that recording for the Talking Book Library is a unique and rewarding experience, and he's thrilled to have such a dedicated team to make that possible. The services provided by Arizona's Talking Book Library open a world of possibilities, and there are some other groups here today who also help ensure that folks have access to the world of our democracy. And so I would like to welcome the Maricopa County Elections Department, which I used to have the pleasure of working for. They're here and available to demonstrate accessible voting machines and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to participate in our democratic processes. Also, we have Sun Sounds of Arizona here. They provide audio versions of the ballot propositions and other election information materials that voters can hear online or over the phone. And they're just downstairs for anyone looking for more information. So you can tell that there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on here and across the state, and so we decided to live stream this event for the very first time. We're excited to continue finding new ways to reach folks, make sure that they have access to resources, but also I just wanted to make sure that the Secretary, knew what he was missing. So thank you all for being here and for your continued support of Arizona's Talking Book Library and its services. Let's keep working together to make sure that these resources stay available. Have a great day.
Thank you, Murphy. So next in line here to finish off this speaking block, we have David Steinmetz, who is a public relations manager for the Arizona Industries for the Blind. But he's a dedicated public relations manager where he leverages over 19 years of experience in strategic communication and advocacy to amplify the voices of individuals with disabilities. In this role, David spearheads public relations campaigns, manages media relations, and oversees creation of impactful content that raises awareness and drives engagement for the nonprofit's mission. With a background in public relations, David has a proven track record of crafting compelling narratives that resonate with diverse audiences. His work is characterized by a deep commitment to inclusivity and a passion for changing the perception of blindness. He holds a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies from Arizona State University and has completed specialized training in business management and emotional intelligence for business leaders. In addition to his professional accomplishments, David is an active member of the Mayor's Commission on Disability Issues, the Citizen Transportation Commission, and a board member at the Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and regularly volunteers his time and expertise to support various causes within the disability community. When not working, David enjoys reading books and outdoor activities. So, and that's a lot. He's very accomplished and we're happy to have him, but I know him best as a member of the Governor's Council on Blindness and Visual Impairment, and he graciously accepted my invitation to join us at our open house today. So welcome. So welcome to David, and get yourself up here, make sure that your mic is on, which I can see. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Erin. And
welcome, Erin. Join me in welcome.
Thank you all. I am David with Arizona Industries for the Blind. As Erin mentioned, I'm the Community and Public Relations Manager, And in that role, I get to do a lot of different things out in the community, bring awareness of the capabilities of people who are blind or visually impaired in Arizona and really around the world. And it's important to have these messages because there are a lot of mixed ideas or concepts of what people who are blind are capable of doing. And through these conversations, I'm able to connect with different organizations such as the Talking Book Library, the Governor's Council on Blindness and Visual Impairment that I'm going to talk about today. And Aaron and both Murphy mentioned about connections, and these connections are so important to our community. Why? Because they bring people together to learn. And as the Public Information Committee Chair for the Governor's Council on Blindness and Visual Impairment, several years ago we worked on initiating a information and referral online system database for people who are blind with low vision in the state of Arizona, known as I Know AZ. And you're able to go on to this website and look for providers that provide services or other museums that have accessibility, things like that. To put in a zip code, look, maybe use the drop-down feature to see what it is that you're looking for, and be able to find the resources in your area that can benefit you. Another connection with the Governor's Council on Blindness and Visual Impairment is with the Talking Book Library and V-Rate, Vision Rehabilitation and Technology Expo, known as one of the largest and longest running assistive technology expo here in Arizona. Christine Tuttle, I'm sure many people know her, has been a mainstay of that program and helps us every year with putting together a fabulous expo. Last year we had 500 people register and attend. It was at Ability 360, where it will be again this year. Members of the Governor's Council, whether they're volunteers or through their organizations that they work, participate in planning and executing the event, as well as exhibiting and passing out information to our community. These connections continue to grow these opportunities. In addition, the Governor's Council is designed primarily by volunteers in the community, private citizens, as well as state representatives to ensure that the specialized needs and in education or in digital access for people who are blind and vision impaired in the state of Arizona. We meet on a quarterly basis and we review different key performance indicators from, let's say, vocational rehabilitation program. We want to make sure that the clients are receiving the best services that they can get to ensure their employment outcome. We also work on different public policy to ensure that our older independent blind program is funded and that people who need services but are not looking for employment are able to get those services. So we advocate for funding in the state budget, and we do a lot of work at the state capitol as well. And we are working on behalf of the governor, and we have the full support of the governor in this commission and work really hard to make sure that everybody who is blind has the access and information that they need to be successful in their life. That's my presentation on GCBVI. And any questions, I'll be around for a little bit afterwards if you have those questions. Thank you.
A big thank you to David and Rufus, of course, and Murphy. So I want to congratulate everyone in the room right now. This is very exciting. You all experienced our very first big usage for an event of this new training space that we're in. So thank you for basically being my guinea pigs in a sense, and testing out the AV system and all that good stuff. This training space, we had various sources of funding for it. We've been building it bit by bit, but a large part of that is through our Arizona Friends of Talking Books group. which is a nonprofit that supports the library to supplement the different programs that we make available. So for instance, when I mentioned audio described DVDs, when you walk through the recording studio, these are all done and accomplished through donations to our Arizona Friends of Talking Books group. So we're just about to finish up here, so I just want to kind of let you know, you came down an aisle, and now we're going to have staff and volunteers stationed at the exit aisle here. So when you all stand up here, there's a center aisle here, 2 sections, and we'll be all moving to the right to go back down to the elevator. From there, again, as a reminder, if you haven't yet talked to Maricopa County Elections, maybe speeches were starting, back up a little bit, go ahead and head back to where you just came from, talk to them before you go. It's a great opportunity. If you had a burning question about your library issued equipment, or how to download, how to use your Braille e-reader device, if you use that, head back just outside the elevator. We have what we call the device advice booth, which is currently staffed by both our staff, Michael and Craig, are machine agents, and also Savvy Services for the Blind is also joining us today. Downstairs, you'll find the exhibit hall, so immediately outside the elevator, be sure to talk to those organizations before you leave today. And finally, if you would like the opportunity to experience what it's like to record in our soundproof booths, we have an activity there, and staff and volunteers can guide you in that location, so you can talk a little bit about what the library means to you. So a lot of great things happening. Doesn't have to end here. But thank you again for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay with us.